Okay, so this is also building off of that idea of the more advanced functional kind of four wheels, the flow. So this is just going to be an upright in a seated position. So this is good for if you have pain or back pain or butt pain or groin pain or whatever it is in a seated position or when you're driving, things like that. Some of these things may be a little challenging while you're actively driving, but say if you're at a stop position, if you're parked or at an intersection, you might be able to quickly do a couple reps here and there to get things freed up. All right, so basically I've got my knees here. I'm gonna be, adjust the camera there a little bit. There we go. So I wanna try to get the idea of like I can provide a little bit of resistance, doesn't need to be a lot, and just channeling through there, kind of like feel those hip flexors working, try to get your core, think about anchoring those lower ribs back, like there's a wall behind you, or in the case of a car seat, you're probably gonna be able to adjust where you can kind of press back in that. You don't wanna be sunken too much in your seat where you're like totally collapsed, but you wanna at least have the idea, if you have like a lumbar support or something that you can press back into and get that tension. But there's the idea of shifting to the side, you know, not collapsing, leaning, but just getting some weight and keep your chest forward so you can really push through the side that you're grounding on to leverage and lift from here. So again, like more like my glutes. Core still firing, I'm still channeling here and posturally keeping my chest up, but there's also the leverage through the core from the glute to the core to the other side core, heading to the hip flexors to connect those dots to lift and leverage. Now I'm also shifting my weight here, so my trunk is gonna rotate at least slightly, again, versus a collapse, a side bend. I wanna shift and rotate without leaning or collapsing over. So it's here, just a bit. And that's, I'm gonna leverage through that hip, pelvis, core, but anchor and lift. Now, again, if you're having some trouble there, or perhaps on the side, if you're coming back over here, and like this works okay, but maybe there's tightness or discomfort here, what you might actually have to do is maybe even put your resistance instead of here, well, kind of more like lift the arm up like here to anchor, maybe feel that with your hand, or you can still resist here and they'll still channel through the system. So you're just trying to redirect it into the ribs, anchoring here more and leveraging the shoulder blade to open up and not lean, you know, collapse, and also to get rotation, okay? So as I'm shifting here again, if this is my affected side, I can resist here, anchor. I can want to make sure I'm not collapsing there either. I'm keeping tall on both sides and more rotating, twisting. That might be where your resistance needs to be as well, is kind of here. Now I can still use my elbow against the car seat or chair, and maybe use my hand here to support there, but I don't want to scrunch here, so I might even have to leverage that. There's a lot of things you can do to kind of play around with that idea, depending on what's weak. So it'll be more challenging, like the oblique muscles, one on each side. There's 2 sets of those. So you're using one of one type here and one of the other type here, and then they, you know, can switch depending on which way you're twisting. Okay, there's an internal, external oblique. So just depending, you might have to work here, or loading here, lifting here, or whatever it may be, but just mix and match and try to find and strengthen your weaknesses while not collapsing, compressing, or pinching anything in your back or in your hip for that matter. Just try to keep things open. Even just that idea of leaning forward and distracting. So you want to get some like flexion like this way, hinging at the hip, but not necessarily like side bending or hiking your actual pelvis. So that's where maybe the seatbelt could even help you, right? The seatbelt's really more like across like the groin area. That might actually help to hold your pelvis down and free you up to kind of actually feed your hips. So if you're tight in your buttock area, that can help to, you can overpower that. You can even do a little extra leverage, you know, while the actual belt strap holds your pelvis in place. And that might actually help as well. Even things, you know, coming across like this, if you have your hands free, that is. But that might help to free some things up and decompress, or train your body to decompress, not have pain, not have tightness or discomfort.